The rivalry between SpaceX and Boeing has the hallmarks of David and Goliath. One is a titan of industry, the poster child of America's ambitions to explore the cosmos, and a key enabler of the Apollo program that landed the first human being on the moon. The other is a young upstart venture run by an eccentric multi-billionaire entrepreneur and made up of a ragtag bunch of engineers, some of whom used to build water towers. But out of a dream of landing a greenhouse on Mars using a converted Russian ballistic missile to kickstart human colonization, SpaceX rose to the top of the world's burgeoning commercial space sector. It now challenges established aerospace legacy companies like Boeing for accolades and NASA funding. The two companies have already competed in the high-stakes field of human spaceflight. SpaceX beat Boeing on its own turf last year, defying expectations to become the first American mission to deliver astronauts to the International Space Station or ISS since 2010. But how did Elon Musk's SpaceX defeat Boeing? Well, let's find out in this video. Hello guys, welcome to Tech Power. And today in this video, we'll be talking about how Elon Musk's SpaceX defeated Boeing and made history to send NASA astronauts to space. But before starting this fantastic video, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notified about our latest and interesting news. So let's get started. When NASA started the Commercial Crew program in 2010, the goal was to get private sector companies to produce the most cost-effective, innovative, and safe way to get astronauts to the International Space Station. The program was structured as a multi-tiered competition, with companies bidding for NASA contracts to build the space transportation systems under specific parameters set forth by the agency. NASA eventually awarded the contracts to SpaceX and Boeing. But how's that working out? NASA is paying Boeing $4.6 billion for up to 6 operational flights to the space station, while on the other hand, SpaceX is getting $3.1 billion for another 6 flights. SpaceX gets less money because its vehicles are cheaper to build and fly. Boeing gets more money because the government wants 2 separate operators. If one goes down, the other is still available. On a per-seat basis, according to the NASA Inspector General, it means that Boeing gets $90 million per astronaut per flight, while SpaceX gets $55 million per flight. They've been paying Russia roughly $80 million a seat for its Soyuz spacecraft. Estimating shuttle costs over 30 years is tricky, but $71 million a seat in non-inflation adjusted dollars is a reasonable figure. So, looking at the last 40 years, Boeing is setting a record for the highest cost per seat, and SpaceX is setting a record for the lowest. The NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine said, quote, "We're very pleased with the level of investment that we've made, what we're getting for that investment, but we're also hoping for the future as well. Again, the goal is for NASA to be a customer." As for efficiency, both companies are now 5 years behind schedule, and Boeing will make it 6. The rocky road to commercial spaceflight is littered with unsuccessful first tries, funding shortfalls, mistakes, and broken promises. SpaceX founder Elon Musk pioneered the reusable rocket. It wasn't easy at first, it took a while, but he believes recovering a rocket instead of throwing it away is critical. Musk said, quote, "It'll be another step towards the stars. In order for us to really open up access to space, we have to achieve full and rapid reusability. And being able to do that with the primary rocket booster is really going to be a huge impact on cost." The company has had its share of accidents and explosions, always forging ahead afterward and learning from its mistake, but paying a price in lost time. There was that huge launchpad explosion in 2016, one that shook the ground and rattled windows in much of Brevard County. Another SpaceX Falcon 9 had blown up in flight on June 28, 2015, and one of its biggest failures happened just last year on April 20th, leaving a toxic orange cloud over the Cape visible for miles. What was supposed to happen was a firing of the Dragon capsule's escape rockets, the ones that would save the astronauts' lives in a launch abort scenario. Instead, the capsule exploded. The failure cost the company at least a year to fix. However, SpaceX President Gwynne Shotwell said that, quote, "You have to learn those hard lessons. You think sometimes the aerospace industry shies away from failure in the development phase. It looks bad politically when it's tough, and the media certainly makes a lot out of failures. But candidly, that's the best way to learn." Parachutes have bedeviled both companies. The Dragon capsule lands under parachutes, which must deploy in a complex sequence. It was only this month in the 27th test that the Dragon's parachute system was okayed for human spaceflight. Perhaps SpaceX's biggest success so far was the launch to the space station just over a year ago. A Falcon 9 rocket carried the Dragon capsule and a simulated astronaut named Ripley more than 220 miles high to the space station. The mission was a triumph from beginning to end, with a splashdown not far from the Cape that triggered memories of Apollo. That kind of mission is something the more expensive Boeing Starliner has not been able to pull off. Boeing has had troubles with its cruise ship that mirror some of SpaceX's problems. A year ago, the company finally got the capsule's thrusters to work properly after issues with leaks that set everything back. Time after time, Boeing has said it would be ready soon. A statement from astronaut Nicole Mann in 2018 said that to be up there with a crew, it feels kind of surreal to realize that you're going to be there within a year with a real vehicle climbing on board. That year came and went along with another, and there's still no launch date in sight for Boeing. The company has also had troubles with its own parachutes, a landing technique NASA mastered back in the 1960s, but its capsules were smaller and lighter, easier to land with parachutes. Boeing's biggest setback came in last December, the first time the Starliner headed for space. Some 20 minutes after liftoff, the capsule, built for astronauts but flying with no one on board on this test launch, was supposed to fire its engines to enable it to reach the space station. The engine firing didn't happen on time, and the Starliner failed to reach the station. Till now, the Starliner is grounded while engineers start from scratch in some respects to program it to operate safely and reliably. The test flight must be repeated late this year. The first Starliner astronaut flight is put off until next year. For nearly a decade, SpaceX and Boeing have been neck and neck building and testing their crew transportation systems. But SpaceX's successful launch in May marked a major milestone for the company, leaving Boeing to play catch-up. It was the first time that NASA astronauts took off from US soil since 2011, and the first time a commercially built spacecraft carried NASA astronauts. However, in January, SpaceX completed the Dragon's in-flight abort test, the last major milestone to prove it was ready to fly astronauts. A couple of months later, when Boeing and NASA announced that Boeing would redo the orbital test flight before Starliner could fly astronauts, SpaceX's place in history was sealed. So guys, with this, we end up our amazing video. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below, and we'll be happy to hear from you. Also, if you found this video interesting, then don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.